What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Downloadable Brain Podcast. I'm your brother from another mother, obviously, since my own kind don't love me right. I'm just kidding. But I got homies on the down low from other countries or something. At least I prefer to tell myself that inside of my own head. But I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. If you love me, you love me. If you hate me, you hate me. Just saying I appreciate those who appreciate me. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Today is the 35th episode of Downloadable Brain. Brain 44 is going to discuss energy vampires and how they can potentially affect your life if you allow them to. Now, if you openly identify as an energy vampire already, this podcast episode may not exactly tickle your fancy. So you've been warned and you may want to turn away if this would be triggering to somebody who identifies as an energy vampire. If you're not sure if you are or not, first let me provide examples of what I consider an energy vampire is, just to give you the warnings, because you may not be potentially aware. So to me, an energy vampire is somebody who is not capable of handling their own emotions. They're very reckless, they love to live a lie, and they love to live inside of the land of delusion. They care not who they hurt or who goes down with them. If anything, they welcome the downfall of whoever chooses to jump on board the vamp train. But here's the deal. Energy vampires are people who not only mishandle energy when they can tap into energy, they lack the required basic tools in order to handle whatever power is given to them, simply because they operate out of feelings such as jealousy, envy, hatred, negativity, and toxicity. If you combine some of those traits, or you have all of them, it's all the makings of a person completely capable of self-destruction. And I briefly discussed this on an episode of Kimberly Ephone's The Hypothesis, but I wanted to do a full podcast today for the Downloadable Brain, just to explain what I believe energy vampires are in more detail, and I'm going to provide some insight. So now we know the warnings, we know the symptoms. If you identify as one, I'm not a therapist legally, but I do feel my advice could potentially help people who genuinely seek my help. However, my door is pretty much always closed to those who have already done me dirty and showed me their true colors. With that being said, let me discuss further how an energy vampire works. So what do you do if you have an energy vampire in your life? Maybe you come from an entire family of energy vampires. Maybe you have a friendship group of energy vampires or a social circle of energy draining vampires. Always remind yourself, first and foremost, anybody who behaves like this is an absolute clown. And you're not even competing with their validation or approval. You're not trying to win over somebody or multiple people who behave this way. If they are that toxic and crazy, you just want to banish them from your energy source at all costs, because these types of people really serve you no purpose. The only purpose, in their opinion, is for you to serve them. And they never give back, they just want to take from you. So you got to stand in your power and set boundaries. Just be warned that whenever you set a boundary on one of these rodents, they will go out of their way to make it an issue and intentionally create a problem, because your energy is what they are counting on. Whenever you set a boundary, one of these rodents will go out of their way to do something just to cause an issue. But whenever one person who identifies as an energy vamp shows up to deplete you, or it's multiple people, there's no reasoning with arrogance and selfishness. So you have to deplete them using your own creativity, skills, or energy. And they cannot even be helped because they are not willing to do the work. So now that you've been warned about energy vampires, these are rodents in human form. You cannot reason with arrogance and selfishness, and they cannot be helped because they are not willing to do the work. So now that we've been warned about energy vampires and the rodents in human form, you can get to understand that these are very simple-minded vessels who always have their palms out. Something I briefly touched on my episode of Kimberly Ephone's The Hypothesis, but I need you all to understand something. If you are not an energy vampire and you do actually work hard on yourself, you want to do better, You're trying to vibrate on a higher frequency, and you genuinely want to do well and wish others the best. Nothing can really stop you, but just be prepared to have some narcissists go out of their way to try and cause a problem for you. You have to stand firm and deplete the entitled rodent. Now, these rodents are often known as bullies, tyrants, entitled people, takers, very lazy people, immature people, sometimes drug addicts, often menaces to society, and narcissists. But some may have certain traits of that, or in the worst possible case, they develop every single one of them. Most of us do not deserve this type of treatment from somebody who's judging us unfairly, but you have to understand that they're an energy vampire and go over some of the symptoms that I just discussed. And you just got to remember that emotional intelligence is just as important as book smarts. Like I said, somebody who has power or is given power but misuses the power given to them cannot even handle it for themselves, and it shows when they become energy vampires. Let's discuss the damage energy vampires create when they can often destroy friendships, love interests, communities, work environments, as well as, even in some cases, the rule of law, justice, and what is fair. Now, this is totally toxic. It just takes everything down that they touch. Everything they touch turns to dung. So an energy vampire is totally compliant and reliant on you. You're their main focus. They hate you so much, but they just love the fact that they can try and latch onto you even though they can't be you. And they got to try to become better than you because they can't be you and because they are not you. Yet they refuse to go away, and they're just doing it all out of jealousy and envy. They got to try to become better, but they can't because they're not you. Yet they refuse to go away, and they're just doing it all to take everything you got. That's what an energy vampire does. They don't know how to be themselves. They don't know how to create their own success. They don't even know how to do something useful or creative. They're just always on the take. And if it pertains to you, as much as you want to be nice, you cannot be nice to anybody who behaves this sort of way. I don't care if it's your own damn family or your asshole boss, your girlfriend who's always bitching at you, your battle axe wife who can't wait to scream at you whenever you go home. They're vampires, so deplete them. How do we deplete them? Here's my best tip for those who don't identify as an energy vamp, but they just want to live a better life and be at peace and be left alone. All right, y'all, let me get my garlic pizza out of the oven because I think it's done. I know garlic is a natural repellent for vampires. It smells good too, doesn't it? That's something to consider, but we take the pizza out of the oven. Now we're going to continue to rock this podcast, and we're cooking, so let's continue. The best way to deplete an energy vampire is simply refusing to play their game. Energy vampires are always 9 times out of 10 narcissists or bullies. Usually both, but like I said before, they don't know how to be themselves. They sense power within controlling you. But this is step 1 of an energy vampire's depletion. They will use various different forms of control tactics or attempts to get you to be in a state of fear. And they will use fear-induced gaslighting, spiritual bullying, slander, telling lies on you, telling lies to you, and hating on you because they are out of control people. They expect to control you, and you're just saying no. You're showing up with action. You speak pure defiance with every action and every word. Here's what you do. They will try to put you into a state of fear by uttering threats. They might say, we're going to meet you on this date, whether you like it or not, and you better be ready. Here it comes, here we come, you better be prepared, or something like that. Your reaction is not to get anybody else involved because more than likely, other people are involved as well. Your reaction is to not only reject the idea of being fearful of them, you show up just to let them know, whoever's involved, they not only lack the power to control you, you were always the one in control of your own life, and you're driving your own destiny forward. Nobody's pre-writing the book for you. And every time they told somebody to circle your block, utter a threat on social media, gaslight you, bully you, slander you, and tell lies on your name, you come back not really knowing what to fight for because an energy vampire is always a coward, and they can't openly voice their disapproval for you. They become a toxic rodent that destroys everything they touch. So, like I said before, everything they touch turns to fungus and dung. And the shit will blow up in their face, which is inevitable because reckless behavior is a problem for anybody and everybody involved, whether it is the culprit or the victim. Here's the thing though, you're also not a victim because their attempt to control you does not work. That's the next step of depletion, and it's like the harder they try to control, the better you get at not only depleting them, you're going to show everybody who agreed to it how much of a dumbass that person or entire group of people are for going along with something that they know they shouldn't, but they just chose to do it anyways. And they never even took the time to do their own research to justify the cause of judgment, feeling as if you deserve judgment just based on what they feel inside of their heads. Remember, with energy vampires, most of the time they don't need a reason, but people will go along with anything if they're stupid and simple-minded enough. It takes a chaos curator to induce unnecessary burdens. So a rodent might say, I've got 99 problems. Take these problems and carry them for me. But the problem is those 99 burdens are not really yours. They've got 99 problems and you've only got one. The problem is the energy vampire. It's the source, but you can downplay it and pretend like it's not even really an issue. The next step to depletion is to refuse every single burden the vampire demands you carry on their behalf. And here's where the magic comes into play on a universal scale. You're not only refusing to carry the burdens of somebody else's problems, which they knowingly created for themselves, they were trying to pass it on to you by using a lot of lies and deceptions. And they may try to psychologically gaslight you into convincing you that you deserve their burdens, but those are 99 problems they carry. The only problem you have is the energy vampire, but you're downplaying it still, like they have no power over you because they could not control you. You're actually now going to ask the universe to tip the scales of justice in your favor, so when injustice has been done to you, the energy vampire is never your problem. The problem itself is that they're just an energy vampire and they've got their own shit to deal with. So when you call on the universe to balance the scales of justice in your favor, all it really is refusing to carry the undeserved burdens that others try to pass on to you. They're all screwed up, so they need help. Many people are screwed up, and it ain't your problem. The next step to depleting the energy vampire is to not play into the emotions they require you to play into. So an energy vampire is very compliant and reliant on your misery. That is their currency. Your energy of being traumatized is what they can count on because an energy vampire will convert your trauma into some sort of a level up. But here's the kicker. They expect you to be sad when they intentionally hurt you and betray you, so you actually show up happy. You don't give a shit. They do you really dirty intentionally, knowing they were supposed to love you and be there for you. So you accept they are fake and you refuse to cry. They wanted you to cry and they were counting on it. They wanted you burdened. And that is their currency. You need to understand this about an energy vampire in order to deplete them. You refuse to cry for them. There's nothing to mourn regarding the relationship because it was never authentic or real. They were just fake, and now you've come around to accepting the fact that they don't even matter. But your peace does. Your most crucial step to depletion is to always keep your peace. So when an energy vampire pushes you so hard that they expect an extreme reaction out of you, such as violence, screaming at them, or doing something else extreme, you refuse to play their game. That's your peace. Go back to what I said before regarding them needing to pin their burdens off onto you. It was never your problem. Their burdens are theirs to carry. Now, there's the last part of this beautiful symphony based on lies, deceptions, and hate. None of those things even exist in you, and you're not too fazed by it, but everything the energy vampire wanted for you ends up becoming true for them instead. I can't make it up. If they wanted you broke, they end up going broke themselves. If they wanted you to be hated by everybody, it may work to an extent, but even the same people who hate on you end up hating on the culprit a lot of the times. That's another beautiful part of vampires, when they become chemically imbalanced and they play that unhinged, groovy symphony. A lot of the times, one vampire will fight another vampire because toxicity is all these people know, and it's the only energy they know how to operate in. I hope this helps you guys out if anybody else has experienced an energy vampire or is currently experiencing one or multiple energy vampires in their lives. I want to end it with this. If the vamp was a friend, they don't love you and they don't mean you well because you know they're a vamp. You know what to do. You never speak to that person again. If the vamp was a family member, somebody you trusted, you know exactly what to do. You never speak to that person again. If the vamp was a coworker, a neighbor, a childhood friend, whatever the case, you know what to do. Never speak to them again. And that is how you deplete them 100%. And trust me, guys, if you ever mess with something like Facebook, you can have 200 people on your list of acquaintances, but many of them, if not all of them, really don't care to support you or wish you well, especially if you do something creative like me, such as music or podcasting, because they're more than likely energy vampires themselves, and it's a shitty way to live. Just know your power. Your power lies within cutting those types of people out of your life because you have the power to live life the way you want to live. And you don't have to carry all the shit and emotional baggage other people try to pin onto you. Now they don't have access to you anymore. You cut them out of your life and you'll notice you'll start to feel a lot better. If it's family and you can't avoid them in some cases, speak only when you must speak to them. And when they insist on reconnecting, make sure to give them nothing and let it be known that you don't like them any more than they like you. Hate is a strong emotion. I hate that you're extremely toxic, and I'm not that way myself, but I'm not going to waste my time thinking about it, thinking of you, or even giving a damn what you all do because you're energy vampires. You're not going to change, but I've changed, and I'll never let an energy vamp test my sorrow. But you don't even get to have a seat at my table, bitch. That's how we close it out. And remember, when somebody does you dirty, if you don't deserve to be treated like that, the universe always finds a way of letting you know because karma is very bold and energy does not lie. You can lie to everybody, but the energy and powers of the universe itself are incapable of lying. You will see in the current events or even social situations where a vamp gets it back way worse than you, that the energy of the universe is actually working in your favor. So when they end up crying, try not to laugh because then you're just being the same thing they are, which is an energy vampire. Their sorrow is not your currency. That's just for them to manifest from hurting other people. I mean, no normal person thinks that way, but it's inevitable when you don't do what you're supposed to do, right? Either by yourself or by others. Like, you got to do right by people. You got to do right by yourself. And if you can't, then that's why you're an energy vampire. I don't know, can energy vampires become reformed? I know I turned my life around, but I never lived as an energy vampire who used people's sorrow for currency. I just played the victim mindset. And that got stale very quickly, and I wore it out just like I wore out my old relationships of haters and energy vampires, which is pretty much damn near everybody. So once you do that, get out your garlic pizza, stock up on attachment rodent repellent, do a cord cut and ask the universe to guide you away from these funky freaks so that you can just enjoy your life. You only got one life to live, so don't waste time on people who don't serve you. Best wishes until next time. Brain44 signing out. Get you a slice of that garlic pizza. And if they're a vampire, they'll easily scatter because garlic is repellent.